Hello everybody, welcome to another live coding session. It's been a while again, so hopefully we'll get a lot of things done today. And today I will be specifically focusing on closing some of the issues and some of the PRs that I've opened, because I have many open. Let's see how many I have right now, because it's usually a lot and it's not going down, usually it's going up. So I have currently 40 open PRs. That's terrible. So I need to definitely work on that, and that's what I'm gonna do today. At least my focus would be these two, because those are the most urgent ones that I need to get closed soon. The first one is regarding the fact that when you create a Windows application and you launch it, even though the application is still loading in the code in the behind, and it's the first initial page is loading, the Windows window.current.bounce size is already initialized, and that's weird because you would expect it to actually initialize only when the real window is actually open, but the bounds are initialized even before. So that specifically was reported for Android, but I noticed that after I made a fix to adjust for this on Android, it's still failing, and it's failing specifically on, I restarted the build, but it's failing on WebAssembly, and it's failing on GTK, and it's failing on WPF. So these three are problematic. For WPF and GTK, that's not actually a big deal right now, because we will be changing the windowing lifecycle and stuff like that a lot. So I have a specific note for this in a different issue, so that will be fixed later. But today I would like to look into why on WebAssembly this thing is not working, because that's a little bit weird. Because on WebAssembly, the application is launching with the splash screen, so the window is there, so you should be able to get the window size early, and that's apparently not happening right now. So we'll see why that's the case, or hopefully we'll see why that's the case. For now, I added not Skia for the assertion that the window bounds are not 0, because that's for now not gonna work on Skia, but I have noted that in an issue. So let's see, multi window support, here we go. So yeah, window should have its bounds initialized even if in the window constructor, and that should be, let's see, re-enable assert initial window size on Skia targets. So yeah, this is something that I will take care of in a different PR. But for now, let's focus on WebAssembly, and specifically on why the window size is not initialized there. So I'm not actually sure how WebAssembly handles this, how the initial size is getting there. And apparently it's here, it's in this resize method, it's getting via a JS export, it's getting called, and it notifies the on native size changed event, and that one is then logging, changing the bounds here. So that's how it happens. But the weird thing is that this one is called quite late. And why is it called this late? So one option, one possibility here is that this method is only called on a resize, but until it's actually resize, it isn't triggered. But some kind of initial size has to be there, so This is interesting. Let's see. Let's search for... Let's go to the TypeScript part of the puzzle and we'll see if where it actually happens to call that from the TypeScript part of the code. Because this specific part of the logic is in TypeScript because we need to get the value from JavaScript via JavaScript. So this is kind of an interop between C# and JavaScript. So resize. There must be a resize. Yeah, so resize method. And that's the one that we are talking about, right? So exports window resize, that's the one. So this resize method, when is it called? We see, so it's called here in the resize, and then it's just initialized. So there's just this one single place when it's called, and this one happens to be called in set root element. Okay, that's pretty interesting. And then in, well, yeah, just in a set root element, and then when the actual window size is changed. So what we can do here is, because the problem is that this like this call set root element happens probably quite late in the life cycle, and that means that it's not yet, well, it happens when you set an actual content of the window, but in WinUI you should be able to get the size before that. So what I am thinking is to find a way to plug this resize earlier. So specifically, let's see, WebAssembly version of window. When we're setting the content, it calls the set root element here, and that's the place where we get the initial size. But in WinUI you should be able to get it earlier, and that's what we want definitely here as well. So launch, so find launch arguments is called before that, but that's not really it. So let's see, container element, like technically I think we should be able to even do it here, because why would it be a problem? I don't really see a reason for that. Get element on window blur init. When is this called? Init. So is it this one which is? Let's see. Window manager interop should be the, yes, init async, and that's called from start partial. Yes, maybe this is the place we are looking for. So this starts the application, but this is probably the one that launches or creates the app. Like I don't want to perform the initialization of the window size too early, because that would be a waste like if you be creating the window too early. So instead we would like to do it later, but not too late. Like in Windows, I think it happens between the constructor and the on-launched event. But let's actually test it there. So I will create a Windows application, create this, so let's set it to the latest. And of course, the situation is different for UWP and WinUI, because in UWP we have window.current, and in WinUI we have window.current, but it's now. So that one we shouldn't. It shouldn't happen this way on WinUI. But for now we're focusing only on UWP version where this specific behavior is needed. So what I can do here is that I can try to create a private void lock size, and I can do something like console debug right line, and our right line window current is current yes, and then I can write bounds or bounds width. Current bounds height, and I can call this method from here. Oh no, log size from here. I will call it from here, and I will call it from here, and we will see what results we get. Yes, and I have a problem here, which is because for some reason on my machine at least I need to use nullables even though I don't have nullables declared in the CS proj. I'm not sure why. Something's wrong. Yeah, so this is going from this point. So trying to access window current bounds too early causes an exception on Windows. Specifically, like you can access windows.current, that's not null, but its bounds are throwing. So, okay, let's ignore this one. Let's try the end of the constructor, but I think that's gonna be the same situation again. Yes, so the bounds cannot be accessed before the constructor is done, but in onLaunched, we should be able to access them, and they should not be 0, they should be already initialized to the correct value, which is the case. So you can see it's 200, 1200 and 900. So I need to plug this into the onLaunched, like before the onLaunched is triggered. So let's see. Let's show partial. Let's see window interrupt. So in the initialization. So this initialize method is performing this find launch arguments, which is getting the launch args from the query string of the app. But what I would like to do here as well is to resize the window, or get an initial size of the window, because this method is called when the application is initializing. And I would like to avoid 2 round trips to JavaScript, because that is an expensive thing, especially if you are doing it during the launch. you want to make sure the application launches as fast as possible. So I would like to avoid this ideally. So let's change this name somehow. It's find launch arguments. But what is this? Okay. So this is some kind of... This is the generated code, and we have find launch arguments here in the generated code. But it should be there as well here. So let's rename this. Oh, I'm looking for a good name for this, because we are doing essentially two things in one single method, but in this case it's performance intensive, so it's better to keep it one method than doing two methods. And for that reason I would probably prefer to have just one. So and window size. Like, it's a ugly method name, but it's better to have a single round trip than multiple. Or like we could have it as a side effect here. So maybe just ignoring the rename and just doing it in the WebAssembly, like the TypeScript part of the code, because find launch arguments. Find launch and before on launch. I will probably do it like this. I will call it before on launched. Before launch. Before launch maybe. So this, well, for launch. So this method will have the double duty of getting the launch arguments and also getting the window size up to date. So we have it. Oh, right, I named it. So no, it's in the application. Yeah, for launch. So, and I will add a comment there so it explains what it does. Okay, so this method is, the name is not the best, but it is better than nothing. And it now at least makes sense because it's called before launch. It makes the required launch operations. So it gets the arguments and also resizes the window. So I'll call resize here. This resize method? What? There was some kind of resize. No? Why doesn't it offer me that resize? Because it's that one is this one is static. So yeah, I need to call the resize method itself, but that shouldn't be a problem, right? It's also static, so yes. Why is it actually? It doesn't have to be instance basis. It can be static. Hello, Dominic. What's up? So this one is static, and now I can do before launch and this resize. Okay, so that should be fine. And yeah, let's do it like this. It's probably better because it's a static method, so it should be called on the type, not instance. So resize will ensure the initial window size is set, and then it will return the arguments. So that's it is an additional round trip from JavaScript to C#, but we still avoid the 2 round trips from C# to JavaScript. So at least in that manner, the performance is better. So we have this, discard these, and yes, okay. Well, yes, that's fine. Before launch, yes. So now, hopefully, the assertion should pass. We have the initial window side assertion here. So this one should pass, and I will just note here. Okay. Let's see. Well, it's gonna be very easy to see if this worked out or not, because if it didn't work, it will immediately crash and not even launch. So we will immediately see if our fix has worked or not. I see I have a small font size. Let me fix that. That should be better. Should be visible. Of course. So, whoops. So property resize does not exist on Windows Manager. Right, because it's now a static method. So window manager resize. Now it should be okay. And we have something else here. Quite a few of something else. Yeah, okay, so this is just again the same thing. Maybe now it will work. So Dominic, you had a question regarding the WebAssembly build. So let's see. Visual Studio Installer. I have, for the workloads, maybe that could be the problem, I'm not sure. I have, I think, that was a TypeScript related one. So Node.js development, maybe that one. If you don't have it, maybe that's the one that's missing. And let's see, but I don't have it here. And I think I was able to build it in the preview, so, well. You can try if you don't have it. You can try if this one will resolve the problem with the build. Maybe it will, but I can't say for sure. Right, so the app is launching. Oh, okay. So resize ignore no current window defined. Which is interesting. Which is definitely interesting because we call it method after window.current to string. So in that time we should have the window current set. So you have it installed. That's peculiar problem. I'm not sure. Like, I haven't seen this specific problem yet. Like, we can look into that later, or like if screen sharing, but I haven't seen a problem like that, especially as you were able to build WebAssembly applications before, so it shouldn't be causing trouble. Maybe some kind of version clash between Node.js and whatever that stuff on the web is. I'm not sure, but it could be it. So let's see. Resize ignore. So let's see, let's lock the width and it could be some kind of Node.js mismatch with versions. You can try it, definitely. It will not hurt. It will hurt because anything to do with Node.js hurts usually, but maybe it's gonna show us something. So let's see, 8. How can this ever be null, though? Like the root visual of the window can be null. I see. But is that a problem, though? It should be caring about the root visual. It should care only about the window, which is always there. So I am thinking we could do like something like this. And now this will be called always. And then we can check if the root visual... Like, we can set the bounds for sure. And just ignore the... Yes, this is ignored. So if the root visual is null, then we ignore it. So let me see here once more in the window manager. So there are one place is the set root element. Okay, so this is a protection against the fact that yes, so so if we perform this and the size doesn't change, then later it tries to call resize again to actually start the first invalidate measure, and that fails because the size will not change in between those two times. So that's. But does it matter if I do this and remove that resize after the window size is set? The only thing that should matter for us is to do this dispatch invalidate measure. And we can do that manually from C# there. So what I can do is that I will call this from, yes, I will call this from window set content. So we set it here, we call set root element here, and we can do this here. So this way the initial measure will take place in the proper moment, and we also avoid the round trip to window size here at the end of set root element. So that may actually be a better solution. And the first initial measure call will be ignored because the root visual will be null at that time, so that's fine. And it shouldn't break anything else. So yeah, let's see. So yes, this is okay. Why don't we see that window? Yes, here. And disable Skia temporarily, and that should be it. I think the window has started in the meantime, and there should be no error anymore. Yes, there is none, except for these, which are not actually errors but are just false positives, which is something we could look into, like these reorder theme transition, content theme transition, add delete theme transition are annoying. It's annoying that those are there and always marked as failures, because they shouldn't be a failure. It's just a warning, kind of, because we don't support those yet. So it's not nice for them to be there as a failure. So maybe we could get rid of this. So okay, let's see. The fix is there. I pushed it, so the PR should now be passing. And yeah, so this should be done. Let's see. And delete theme transition. So what is happening there is that we are raising this error, which is logging this as a error into the log. So maybe it would be useful to change these transitions to say that as a warning, not throw or log an error. Just make it a warning instead. It would be better. So let's do that actually. It should be quite easy to do, and it would make the log for both WebAssembly as well as Skia much nicer. So let's do startup errors. Skia, because I know it's showing up on Skia as well, so it doesn't matter where I fix it, and it's gonna be easier to see on Skia and faster to build on Skia. So why would I do it on a WebAssembly, right? So samples app WPF. WPF is fine, and I will go to that transition, and I will take these transition files, content theme transition, add theme, and what was there as well? What was the last one? Let's do samples. Oh, maybe gallery app also. The error should be the same everywhere, so maybe it's not showing in gallery though. Maybe it's just turned off there. We'll see. So it's turned off there. Maybe this one will show. Right. Calculator. No, it's not showing there. Oh, come on. All right, I will. Oh, okay. Content theme, a delete theme, and reorder theme. Content theme transition, a delete theme transition. And oh, what is it? Where is it? Come on! It's disappeared. Okay. Content theme, delete theme transition. I need to put them into the animation, media animation folder. So it's gonna be here, media, no, UI, example, media, animation folder. So add theme transition. So it's gonna still be marked as not implemented, because it is not implemented. But instead of doing this warning, I will do it as a use warning maybe. So the default level is error, but for these common ones where we want to yeah, okay, so default is error, but for the ones where we know it happens in each startup, we should use something else. And I'm not sure about if I want to do it like this. level. Log level override. So maybe this is good solution. So the default log level is error. So if it's error, maybe so we will be applying this override only in case the user has left the not implemented log level as the default value. So if it's still error, we will override it. If it's something else, we will keep the option that the user prefers. So this way, this will ensure this is raised only once for the type, and this way we can avoid raising it at the error level, and we can raise it just as a warning or something even lower. So let's do it like this. And we will set it as here. We'll set the log level to debug. No, well, debug is fine actually. Debug. And this one we will keep this to ensure that it's clear that it's not implemented. So this stays there, but the type itself does not have to have this generated method. All right, so that's for add delete, and the same thing I will do for the content transition. So this is, yes, the right folder. I will ignore these and just keep the constructor. So this, and log level will be debug. So for this one, delete it. Right, and what was the last one? Reorder theme transition, of course, yeah. Reorder theme transition, that's this one. And I will put it right next to this one. Let's keep this. And here we go. Debug. So now for these three, we should be getting only a debug level note that those APIs are not implemented, but it shouldn't litter the debug window with errors which are not actually errors during each startup of a blank application, which will make it nicer and less scary for new users. So that's it. These three, and these are just other errors that are happening here. So okay, so it should be enough. So let's see. We should be hitting this new version of those constructors. And why is this complaining still? Oh, did I not? I did remove it. So just IntelliSense is not up to date here. Yes, so we're hitting this from which style? Implicit style of list view. Of course, it's list view. So here we go. So it's like this, and yes, of course. So now there should be no, and there is an error here. So this one is not a problem. This is just that it's not this favorites file is not created yet, but this one maybe. How often do you hit this zoom factor? So content presenter. What was it? A scroll content presenter, right? So we need to generate it one. Zoom. Oh, not here. Scroll content presenter. This is the one. Ah, we are out of music. Let's do it. Right. Okay. So zoom factor. Zoom factor. It's not there. Scroll content presenter, zoom factor. I'm inside of that file, but there is no zoom factor there. Not even here. So maybe it's somewhere here. So why is it setting zoom factor? Because the only place where this is here. Let's see, let's search for it in the whole code base, but it's interesting. Like this is Core Web View 2, that doesn't matter. Scroll content presenter. Right. Well, if we put breakpoint here, we should get there because it's thrown. So So we're getting it here. But yeah, that's for the add delete. That's for content theme transition. Reorder theme transition. And now we should get the zoom factor, which is on update zoomed content alignment. I see. So here we have it. So it's not scroll content presenter, it's scroll viewer, I think. Scroll content presenter doesn't have zoom factor, or does it? No, it doesn't. So it's it definitely should be scroll viewer instead. So scroll viewer, and the background color. There's no background color either. It's very weird. What is this doing there? Whoa, okay. I'm getting more confused. So background color. Seems like this thing shouldn't be there at all. Like, why is it there? It's color, and it's not implemented at all. All right, let's mark it as a breaking change issue. Okay, it doesn't really make sense for it to be a background color because we support any kind of background. So the only reason why it should be a color only is that it has some specific behavior on scroll viewers, but still it's not implemented. So I don't see why it should be there. And anyways, this one, update zoom content alignment. So it's not implemented, and so it's gonna throw, and yes, let's see why it's actually getting called in the samples app, because it's not in the default application, but only in the samples app. As I'm thinking about it, the zoom factor is implemented in scroll viewer. So why is it even saying it's not? It's all very weird. Ah, okay. So when the layout is changing, it resizes stuff and then changes the alignment of zoomed content, which is implemented on iOS. Based on some logic. and is not implemented on Skia and WebAssembly as well. But on WebAssembly it doesn't even say anything, it's just ignored. So I think this is not the best way to do it. I think it would be better to just note it once. Oh, hello, Devsiri. And this is applied to managed, which is Skia. What is? Where is this defined? I would prefer to do it once for both Skia and WebAssembly. So this one is only on Skia, but I would like to have it for both. So what is the name for that? It's scroll view. It will be scroll viewer cross runtime. Cross runtime. Oh, I pressed something which I didn't want to, and Visual Studio is frozen. So I wrote, oh, okay, I created a folder with a CS file. Great. So once again, scroll viewer cross runtime. All right, now it should be fine, and I'll just move this logic here instead of two separate files, so it's in one place instead. So in this class, I will remove this from WebAssembly. I will move here the code from managed. So this one. Implement it. And I think that it's gonna be in here. No. So it's only, yes, so it's only there and there, so I will just implement it as such. So it's true, and I will warn, so if this. So I will warn about the API not being implemented only once for the first scroll viewer that's calling it, and afterwards I will just keep it quiet so it doesn't bother the user multiple times when the user was already warned. So that should be it, and hopefully now we'll have a nice clean error log instead of multiple errors. All right, so loading. And I will, in the meantime, commit the changes. So Yes, so we have just this error, which is not a real error. It's just that the favorites are not created for the sample set at that point, which is nice. So it's much cleaner now. Let me see, because while we're at it, we could maybe fix it as well. So sample plus model. Come on, sample chooser view model. There should be some code that takes care of favorites. Here. Where is it storing those? Okay, so here we have... Okay, so it's logging this error here. No, this is not .NET MAUI, this is Uno platform, which is kind of a competition to .NET MAUI, even though it's like a friendly competition because we are on the same stack. So it's also .NET, it's also XAML, it's also C#, and it's an open source solution for building cross-platform applications. Yeah, but the advantage, we think the main advantage as compared to MAUI is that we support also Linux and WebAssembly and IoT devices, and we have WPF support and GTK support. It's a wider range of targets that you can support with a single code base. So you write your code once and it runs everywhere, and it's also using the full XAML instead of the simplified XAML that MAUI is using, because MAUI is using like a form of XAML which is suited for the lowest common denominator. This one is using the fully stylable and templatable XAML that you know from WPF or Silverlight or UWP. So it's more rich experience for UI design. So you are able to customize the UI much more than on MAUI. So that's mainly those are the main advantages against MAUI. And you can try it out on gallery.platform.uno. We have a sample app where you can see how it works in the browser. So I can show you that in a moment. I'll just see if... Oh, so the error happened without hitting the breakpoint. Oh, yeah, apparently. So let's see. Yes, so the gallery application shows you many of the UI elements and controls that Uno platform supports, and you can see them styled in multiple themes. So we have material style, which is like Android, and you have Fluent, which is based on the Windows design, so it's like Windowsy, and then you have Cupertino, which is based on iOS design or Apple design language. So the 3 different themes, and each is completely different, and it's just that we apply different styles to those controls, but otherwise it's the same control in XAML. It has just a different style and different template, and that's enough for it to completely change the look of it, which is cool. So get file there, that's the problem there. I think there we are hitting the error, and then we get the exception locked. Yes, that's it. So I will change this to lock warning, so it's less scary. Because it's not even an error, because you don't need those favorites, it's just an additional feature. So I think having this as log warning is fine, and it will again make the experience better. So I'll just change this message a little bit. Oh, what is this? Yeah, okay. Yeah, alright, so now it's just a warning, so nothing that scary. And finally, I will fix the message here. Alright, so that's it. Let's push it. Good. And let's create a new PR. So even though I wanted to reduce the number of PRs, I actually created a new PR. That's unfortunate, but it's a nice change, I think. It's something that people were unhappy about, because they were getting errors in the log at startup, and they were confused because they thought the changes that they made, or the environment on their device is broken somehow. So this way you can it will be easier to get to know Uno platform without being scared of those errors at the startup. Oh, we have no unit tests in this case. Comments are okay. And there is actually an issue for this, so I will add it here for startup maybe. Startup experience. No. Maybe reduce number of errors. It's be hard to find the right issue. Not implemented. No. What was the issue? Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that it's a welcome issue, welcome change. And if you know what the issue number was for this one, let me know, please, because I have no clue. And it's nice, definitely give it a try, give DevSiri, give it a try. And if you have any feedback, let us know, because we are welcoming any feedback as an open source project. It's nice always to have feedback from users, because we want to improve. So what was the name of that issue? Locked. I'm not sure. I think that I created that issue, so that's even worse, because I cannot find my own issue. Let's see. Update to no performance tips. No. Up startup experience. I thought it was there, but it's not. Reduce number of errors. I don't know. Let's sort it by default order, because I think I created it recently, not that long ago. No. It cannot be so old, though. But it's... Right, so what was the remote control? I literally cannot find it. Let me try to search for this one. Maybe it's there as part of the lock. Ah, nope. So I have no idea. But the issue is definitely there. I just can't find it. Startup. No, that's not it. Fail. No. That's not it. I gotta say I don't remember, and I'm not able to find it. So I will just create the PR. Maybe I will find it later. And yeah, if not, then when I go through the backlog, I will definitely find it. So new PR is created. So the number of PRs increased as a result of this live coding session, which is not intentional, and I wanted to reduce it instead. Now, this one should pass and merge soon, so I will be back on 40. So maybe I will have time to look into this one still. So the calendar view one is a tricky issue because it involves calendar date picker, and that's a painful control. It's super complex, and I thought I have a fix for it already, but it still requires something more. So it does work on Skia, but I think it still fails on Android, so I will try that right now. So we have Android there. Let's see what happens. Okay, so an important thing is that you need to launch this not from the stable version of Visual Studio, but from the preview, because on stable, Android debugging is very significantly broken. So I'll launch preview instead. I'm hoping they will fix it soon, but it's still not happening, and that's super annoying because I always forget. And then I launch the application, it fails debugging, so I have to restart it, and it's like a lot of time wasted. And one would think that a stable version of Visual Studio will be stable, but that's definitely not the case. And it's good to know that. It's never the stable. So I think there was one more, quite a simple PR that could be closed. Which was it though? This one, I think. Yes, the Power Manager on WebAssembly. I'll try to reopen it, or rebase it. Yes, this one. Very, very old one. It's March 2022. And I think I was working on it as part of a live coding session as well. So it's very much overdue for merging. Let's see. So we have the emulator there, and let's launch the app. So it was failing to build. Static read-only. Field cannot be assigned to. So that's on iOS. Line 26 and 25. We'll look into that. But first, this one. So this is just a merge. And in this case, the difference is that we are now using isUnit tests instead of net461. Otherwise, we should be fine. Okay, let's use the master version, and then I will adjust. Okay. This has changed since. There has been some changes on Power Manager on Android, and I will have to check what changed because I don't know. And this one, yeah, it's just documentation, so it should be fine. Continue rebase. We have more. So this one, linker definition. All right. I think I will just take the version from master and add what was added there. So this one was added to Uno section. So here, course, we have by spacing issues. Right, so there's nothing else for Power Manager, right? No. So let's resolve. We'll take master here. Alright, finally. So this is rebased now. In the meantime, this has not built because we have some weird error here. Whoa, what is that? There's something new. Missing class window extensions. Interesting. Let's try a rebuild, maybe. So let's go into the Power Manager in the meantime. A little bit of multitasking. Yes, that's a different branch. It's fine. Yes. So we need to do it on WebAssembly, so I will focus there. So the PR itself has done the following. It added it enables creating view models for samples without the dispatcher parameter, which is just a helper change. This is improving the sample for Power Manager. This is again improving the sample. This is adding that Power Manager to linker definition. Now the code for Power Manager on WebAssembly, then energy saver status documentation, battery status documentation, and then some kind of refactoring, and that's the complicated part there, because the main thing here probably will be that I got rid of I made file scope namespaces there, so that's the big change, and use this try register Android battery change and stuff like that. And I'm not sure, because it's not necessarily registering, it's registering only if the receiver is not, if it's null, so that's why try. Okay, it's fine. Power Manager has changed a lot. It's now using the start, stop, and event wrapper. That's quite important because it makes the event handling in multi-threaded environment better. And that's a lot of changes again for that very purpose of handling multi-threaded environment. And here it's raising charge percent change, blah blah blah. Okay, and on iOS it's just initialized platform instead of a static constructor. So we are now doing the platform specific initialization on in a partial method instead of a static constructor. And there is probably the problem that we are setting a read-only property on iOS after the constructor. So yes, that's 25 and 26. So Power Manager iOS. So these two are read-only, and because this is no longer a real constructor, even though it's called from the constructor, it's not able to set the read-only methods. Initialize async. This method is called from each of these. Yeah, so the to-do here that is left to resolve is that on WebAssembly, the Power Manager needs to be initialized asynchronously, which is different from the other platforms where you can just get the instance and immediately get the battery status, for example, without awaiting anything. So that's a big problem, because the first value that you get, unless you initialize beforehand, is going to be something that doesn't really make sense, or it's gonna be an empty value instead of the real battery information. So I think the best way to do this is to add a WebAssembly specific method that initializes the Power Manager, and then the user will be required to call it before actually calling any of the methods, so any of the properties. So private so here I will have a field is initialized, and unless the user initialized, we will throw new invalid operation exception if not initialized. Okay, so this should be okay. I'll make it static. So yeah, that's probably the problem, because the Power Manager is a static class. It has no initialization on Windows. Right, so this is just a protection, so nobody can call these properties before the initialization is done. And the initialization will be done here, like this. Now the question is, how can you inform the user that the initialization was invalid or didn't work out? Well, and the question is, do we need to do that? So if it fails initialization, the Power Manager will not be initialized, but should we still be able to call it? Now that's a question. Like, if it fails initialization with an exception, that should prevent you from using it further, but you should know about it. So that should return boolean, and this should return false, so the user can know that the initialization failed. So, all right, and now this method has to be somewhere else, because if it's in the WebAssembly specific file, nobody is going to be able to call it unless they are in a runtime specific class library, which is a very rare occurrence. So instead, I will use this cross runtime code. This cross runtime file will provide this method even for Skia, which is not a big deal. We can just make a Skia specific and WebAssembly specific part. But the nice thing about it is that it will be available for users outside of the samples app, which is quite important, of course. So this doesn't have to be there. Yes, so it can be just partial class like this. So we will have if awesome elif Skia and if okay, well, if it's WebAssembly, it will be initialized. Okay, maybe let's do it like this, even better. So in case of WebAssembly, do this, else we will just tell the user that it's not available. So this, and we'll return false, and that should be enough. So that is it. And now for WebAssembly, yes, this one has to be also in the cross runtime file. Or does it? No, it doesn't have to be there, because it's just on WebAssembly. This flag is not used on Skia, so definitely not, doesn't have to be there. So power right. So we should be good now. We should be good. So this is taken care of the to-do, and on iOS we fixed that issue that we had. So that should be all quite good. I just need to take care of manage the Power Manager page. There should be a sample for Power Manager here. So on this sample, I need to initialize it first before using it. Yes, and we need to adjust the generated files. because it's now implemented on WebAssembly. Which parts are implemented? Discharge time, power supply status. So remaining charge percent, charging changed, remaining discharge time. So this one. Remaining discharge time. Yes, it's WebAssembly specific. That's nice. So remaining charge percent, power supply status, battery status. Power supply status. And energy saver status. Energy saver status was there as well? No, there's not this one. That's not implemented, but battery status, yes, this one. And this whole class is implemented on WebAssembly now. Yes. Should be all good. Maybe some events still missing, but I will fix that after. Like remaining, yeah, this one, of course. This remaining time changed. Power supply status. Yes, that one is now implemented. And everything is green now. Yeah. No further errors. And let's go back to our Android here, and it now succeeded. So let's see if it also deploys to the emulator. Oh, yeah, it does. Nice. So let's see. The Nemesis, the scary one, pickers, and calendar date picker. So all good here. That's all good. Now we switch to dark theme. That's also good. Huh, that should be a problem. Anyways, let's switch to light theme. Let's open this. Let's close it. Let's open in this theme. And now this guy shouldn't have a white background, I think. Like the theme is completely broken here. Now it's even more broken. Whew, everything disappears. Alright, so in Fluent theme there is a lot of problems with this guy. But maybe yeah, there's a lot of this layout pass issues. But maybe it's not caused by the theming itself. It's probably something else entirely. So August And now switch to dark theme. And this one is just different color for no apparent reason. What is this even? That's so weird. Like the calendar picker has issues that are beyond my understanding. But the good news is that the PR that I made, the one that is there, is fixing the foreground color for the normal theme, and it seems like the fluent theme is somehow broken completely. But if it's not applied, it works quite well. So I think some specific changes that were applied to the non-fluent version need to be applied to the fluent version as well to make it work properly. So yes, something to do there. Let me see. There we have the test application. Let's search for Power Manager. Refresh values, not implemented. Not implemented. Not implemented? Okay. That is interesting. Not implemented. It should be definitely implemented. Let's see. Ah, right, because I forgot to do the initialization at the beginning here. So so what I will do here is just await, like not await because it's a constructor, but I will call Power Manager dot initialize, and it's not showing up because it is a public method. It's static, so it should show up. Ah, of course, because it's UWP Power Manager. It's aliased, and let's see that sample. Power Manager. It's Windows System Power Manager. So ideally we would like to disable the sample unless the API is available. So I'll wrap it in a content control. Is enabled will be bound to model is initialized. So now, unless the Power Manager is initialized successfully, it will not, nothing will be enabled. Okay. So it's not like that, but so I need to call this when the page loads. So let's do it. Unload it. Or maybe let's do it like this instead. And in there. All right, here the power manager. And is initialized will be set to the result of it, and that should be okay now. So now this is gonna initialize that. Initialized, yes, it will initialize the power manager, and if it is, oh, of course it needs to be platform specific. So if cross runtime, it's gonna be initializing, else, and if because for mobile targets we don't have the initialization there, so I will just set true always and ignore the initialization at all. So let's see. So for this one, what I wanted to do is to check the calendar date picker template and compare it. And that's gonna be super painful because it's very complex template. So it's gonna be hard to compare them even. So calendar date picker here, and there is a custom template for it in Uno. Oh, controls, calendar view. Yes. Calendar view theme resources. Yeah, quite a few changes. But I think the main problem there is that the whole layout, the whole panel for the calendar is different, and calendar panel. I see there are some Uno specific things in this as well, but like definitely the version, the non-fluent UI version of the calendar date picker works, and it works much better. But there has to be a problem. Is this our custom error or is it Android? Yeah, it's Android. That's gonna be a hard one. Ah. Maybe this is going to be okay. Here we have the problem. Yeah, okay. Async. Await. Okay, so this one will be tricky. Somehow I need to figure out what's the difference between this guy and this other guy. So let's start with the simple things. So this is just resources. There's navigation button scale pressed. It's exactly the same. And now the reveal style. Mostly the same thing. Mostly the same thing again. It's a little bit different, but that shouldn't make any difference. Text block, okay. Scroll viewer style. Alright, not a problem. The specific UNO things are there. Also there. Also there. Now this is going to be interesting too. Grid is the same. Grid, border, month view. So far it looks completely the same. So why does it break so much in case of fluent style as compared to the classic one? Okay, let's in the meantime try this Power Manager thing. Yes, so we have now working Power Manager on WebAssembly, which is nice. So this can be committed. Okay, and let's force push, and hopefully it will either pass CI or there'll be just small adjustments needed. So yes, let's mark it as, come on, yes, let's mark it as ready for review. And let's go here. Oh, maybe one more thing that's needed, and that's to document the change. So 103 docs, articles, and we should have something on the Power Manager, right? Yes, we do. That's good. All right. So iOS is there, and we have WebAssembly now. So before okay, so documentation done. And I made it into wrong location. Yes, I made it in a different clone of Uno, so it's my issue here. So I will go to Uno 4, find it here. And do it again. Yes. Docs. Okay. That is it. So we should be all good here. And let's go back to our calendar date picker problem. So pickers, basics. So let's first see if I clear the debug window here and to open the picker and change pages, you can see that there is no problem there. There is no issue showing up, and it's even working like this. So this one is just working for some weird reason. But when I switch to Fluent, I immediately, not immediately, but well, I should be getting those errors, but I'm not getting them. So what is going on here? This is now kind of working, but it's still very broken, I think. Doesn't make any sense. But why do I not get those errors in the output anymore? Ah, because I'm debugging something else. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of issues here. No, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Request layout improperly called by text block during layout. Mm-hmm. Just close this because I always open the wrong one. No. What is even this? This is so weird. Like everything is completely broken just by switching to Fluent style, but when you switch to normal, it's working well. And actually this one is the Fluent version. It's not the classic version from UWP, which was without the rounded corners and stuff like that. So it's actually the updated one, and so it means that there is just something different in that file that wasn't propagated to the updated to the Fluent styles. Okay, so that might actually be a simple change. So UI, XAML, controls, calendar view. So I will take this whole file and just do a replace. So how much has changed? Yeah, quite a lot. No, but no, it doesn't copy the whole thing. Yes, that's different. Okay, so this is kind of a workaround for now, but I think it's reasonable is to replace the Fluent version with the pseudo-Fluent version that's available in the like UWP styles, because it does work, and if it prevents the whole control not working completely, it should be still better than nothing. Like it's not the latest design, yes, but I'm not completely sure what's the difference between the working version and the broken one. And for now, at least, it's better to have a working version than a completely broken one. So I think that okay. So what is happening here? Maybe that's just that I didn't do a rebuild because it didn't pick up those changed files. Like, it's in the latest design, and I think the latest design looks even much better. So, gallery. I don't have a new UI gallery here. That looks much better, definitely, but you know, better to have a broken, working, uglier version than a broken, beautiful, not working version, I think. So, let me find WinUI. Okay, and I think the proper fix will be to go through the new template and new style, and properly apply the UNO specific changes from this old version, and that might work, because I think the current version that was there was done kind of in a rush when we were upgrading to WinUI 2.6, and we didn't apply those changes properly, and that resulted in this completely messed up control. So yeah, the new design is nicer, like this rounded design and stuff like that. So the version that was there was not even the updated version. It was some kind of weird mix between UWP and 2.5 styles. So now it should be at least working, so that's improvement enough. But yes, this version is much nicer, definitely. I like the rounded indicator of the selected item, and you know, this is just very nice. But we can't have these nice things unless we fix calendar date picker itself, which has a lot of issues. Like, there is a huge number of issues on calendar date picker. So we need to make sure to prioritize those. Let's see how many. Label, calendar, daytime pickers. There is 31 issues just on date pickers and related stuff. Like, we have time picker issues because time picker is not yet ported, but like most of the issues that are open are date picker related or calendar view related, and there's just a lot of things there to be fixed. So for now, let's focus on getting this to a working state. And that should be hopefully now. And it's not. So what is changing there? Like now I'm very confused. What is this? Okay. So we changed the template. It's now using the new one, which is exactly the same as the old template. But somehow it's still completely fails to show up correctly. Now that's super interesting. I can try to remove this, uninstall the app if it somehow wasn't updated, but I don't think so. It's We've overwritten both of these. That calendar date picker film resources. Just let me try to copy this again, but yeah, there's nothing changing. Calendar date picker, calendar view. Now this is very confusing. The style is exactly the same, but after switching to Fluent, it just breaks in a very, very big way. What is this? Like it fails to show these, and what's more, when you click here, this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. What is this? Wow, that's incredible. So, the header. The header button. That's the one that is changing its text. Header button. Header text is changing, so we should be able to put a breakpoint here and see so it's calling it multiple times for one click. Here. Invisible indices updated. And I switch to normal one. And click. It calls it just once. And then it's done. Wow, that's it. That's super interesting. So there's a lot of measuring. Why is it measuring so many times? Like it could be something with the scroll viewer. But again, why is it different on Fluent? No, this is happening many times as well. But the scope changed. It's called once, twice, 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times. And if we're in Fluent, it's called once, 2, 3, 4. Once, 2, 3 times. Okay, so still in here we are on the same page, but something is happening inside of this. Now, what is the difference? False, true, false. False, true, false. And in Fluent, we are getting true, true, true. So, update scope. Let me refresh this. Okay, and in this case we get false. Right, so if we are fluent, the start is the same. Now the second should be 2323, that's the same. Now we should be on the correct date. It's updated. Now it should do the same thing several times. And now switching will give us this min date of current scope. (2018). Okay, so it jumps several decades with a single click, and in the case of this one, that does not happen. It just gives you a different value here. So we find all differences in this one. So scope, colors. Yes, so okay. Let's refresh, open this. So here, when we are in here, so after this, it has, yeah, okay, let's just ignore this. Now, if I press this, I get after this already the correct value, which is the previous month. And in case of the fluent style, let's ignore these, and when I click this, I will get something that doesn't make any sense. Yes, so in here, somewhere, something is not working. So let's compare again. Can ignore this for now. So let's do the non-fluent version. Let's jump from this, and so here first unit is 1 and the date is this. Okay, and fluent. Skipping, and now first unit is 1 and date is something which does not even make any sense. Is this even working? Like, is a calendar there? Yeah, it's there. So this is not a problem of this, but it's here somewhere. There's a lot of calls of this. Alright, so let's simplify. Refresh. So for the classic one, so in this moment, you get the calendar, I get the time, which is 7:31:23. Refresh. What? 1923. Okay. So I will do a helper here. I need to understand when it's setting that to 1923. So return get set now time dot year equals 1923, and I will just add a breakpoint here to make it simple. It's so odd. If the template is the same, there must be something that's overriding it, or some part of that template could it be something in the date picker. That should touch only the date picker, not calendar date picker. I'm only what I'm thinking about is the scroll viewer. If that somehow has something specific for non-fluent and for fluent, never used. All right. I wrote it incorrectly. So if there's something specific there in that style, it could have a impact, but I'm very confused right now. It's when you apply the same style, like even the resources are the same, so the like the brushes could differ, but that should have no impact whatsoever. So really complicated riddle. It's getting very late here, so I will probably just continue with this next time, but so far I don't see any reason why it's behaving like this at all. And I will try at least this last test with the year to understand what's happening, but so initially it's 1923. many times. But then it shouldn't be anymore. And so if I put breakpoint here and press this, there is no change anymore. And it's initialized properly. And if I go to the Fluent version, open it, and set this. Aha! Okay, so how is it setting 19? Right. Huh. Okay. Getting weirder and weirder. So somehow it never changes its value to non-1923. So one more try here. I will set it here to not 1923 to break when that happens. Like what could be happening also is that somehow the corner radius has impact, but why would it be that way? And why would it break the measure so much? Like the scroll viewers are the most likely culprits somehow. But I don't see how yet. Pickers, basics, yes. We have this. So we open it. It says sets here correctly. Okay, many times. So when we are here, it just is working fine. And if we refresh to Fluent, we get the correct date, then we must get to a state where we are getting the wrong one again. Aha, that's interesting. Set to min. Right. So it says sets minimum supported date time. And that changes the date to something wrong. And then we are in 1922. Sets the min date. And it's setting this date again. Estimated date. Right. So somehow this seems to be wrong. But still I don't see any reason why it's different for fluent as compared to non-fluent. So fluent. No. What is this? Can I version 2? So what I was thinking, if there is something checking the version of the controls resources, maybe that's the part that is doing the platform specific thing, is using this is only set. No. Yeah, nothing is touching that. XAML controls resources. I thought there was a specific code that checked for that version, but maybe I'm just trying something that doesn't exist. So come on. No, it was in the helpers. Shared helpers is Was shared helpers definitely. There are two versions of it. No. Okay, it seems like this is gonna be a complex one. I don't see a way this works yet at all. It's no, nothing is using this. So yeah, I have no idea. Use compact resources? No. Like, there should be something in the calendar view that is doing something in a specific way for Fluent, and I'm not sure how it's recognizing that there is Fluent. Like, it's all very, very weird. No. Well, I will probably have to leave this for another day because I'm out of ideas now. And I will have to get back to this again tomorrow probably. Yeah, it's getting late here and I need dinner, so I will probably leave this for another day. But it is definitely a very odd one, especially if you replace the style and template. I don't see how that would change the control that much. Like, the only difference should be the corner radius is different and that the colors are a bit different, but this is a very major difference. Even the sizing and the colors and everything is just all right. Well, yeah, maybe I'll try it again tomorrow. If I don't figure out it during the day, in which case I will just report how I figured it out. But so far it doesn't seem so. So, well. Thank you for joining the session. It was a long one this time. And next time we'll probably continue with calendar date picker. And it's weird behaviors on Android. And yeah, again, interesting thing is that it works on Skia. It doesn't work on Android specifically. So something specific to Android and Fluent, which doesn't happen on Skia, even in Fluent. So weird. Anyways, see you next time. Have a good day. Keep coding. And thank you for joining. Bye bye.